Hello, hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Good evening. This is the I Can't Afford Therapy podcast. Name still pending. I am your host. My full name is Jesus Juarez Iniguez II. But if you know me, I also go by Jay. I also go by Cracker. Always the reliable white boy. Given my mixed race of Irish and Mexican, I've also been called a green bean, as named by myself. But I can just go by Jesse. And welcome to the first episode of my podcast, which in today's day and age is something that is just saturated, and I kind of wonder the validity of even doing this in the first place. But I've been told by many people that I should do something, and for some reason my ADHD brain and bouts of extreme energy and complete laziness usually prevents me from focusing hard enough to do something. So I decided on this. I decided on this kind of format only because I think this is the best way to go. And I'll kind of just use this just to talk about really whatever's on my mind. And, of course, I'll always, link any kind of socials that I have if you guys want me to answer any questions or any topic that you guys want me to speak about. I wouldn't mind doing that as well. I want to make this show as much as a show for you guys as it is for me. I'm always kind of finding bouts of talking to myself, which I think we all do, and it shouldn't be seen as weird, but, just, don't get caught in your car doing it, because, that's what I do a lot. But I figured that, maybe it might be beneficial for me to talk about these things out loud, because, sometimes I think I have some pretty good points, and sometimes I think I sound like an idiot. But let's just go ahead and begin. First thing on the docket, as far as we're looking at, shout out to hash browns. Yeah, shout out to potato hash browns. I don't like you. I don't like hash browns. I have no idea why I don't, because I still do enjoy every other kind of potato. Mashed potatoes, of course, French fries, twice baked potatoes. Just the skillet potatoes, I guess, the potatoes O'Brien. All those potatoes are like top tier to me. But for some reason, the hash brown has always been rather elusive to me. And I don't know what it is. And I know that, part of the reason too is that I don't really like putting ketchup on things, which, I've been told is one way to maximize the flavor, the one way to Guy Fieri up your hash browns is to put ketchup on them. But I'm not really a fan of ketchup to begin with. And I'm not really the type of guy to put like a lot of excess salt on my browns. That didn't sound right. But anyway, it's not important. But what I'm saying is that it's just not my favorite kind of potato. And I don't know what it is, but I think I realized that I don't mind it, because today I ended up going to Norm's with my grandmother, and I ended up ordering the country fried steak with 2 over easy eggs, sourdough toast, and hash browns. And I think it was okay, because I guess when you get when you order a country fried steak and everything, they know what's up. They put a really good gravy on top of it. And I was able to use the gravy to mix with the hash browns that I had, which I wished I'd substituted for fruit, which I usually do, because I usually don't finish my hash browns, and I feel bad. And I take them home, of course, but I still feel bad about it, because I try to throw into something else, or at least hopefully somebody here will eat them. But, I just find myself I think it's just too much. I think a good ratio of hash browns is just if hash browns take up 40% of the plate, I need you to cut that back to a 20%, buddy. I don't know if you guys have had too many TV dinners, but if when you get a TV dinner and it has the little I guess the little side cup that will have your little brownie or something like that. If you had any of those, that's or where they hold the corn. It's a little quarter thing for the corn. That's how much hash browns I need on my plate. Don't Don't give me a shit ton of hash browns, dude. Don't. I feel overwhelmed. And when I feel overwhelmed, I feel bad. And it's just, I know there's a lot of hard work that goes into them, or lack thereof, because I don't make hash browns here. But I just cool it on the hash browns, guys. Just cool it. You don't got to do too much, you know? And for you guys listening and being like, if that somehow disappoints you, um, you can just take mine. Like, if we're going out to eat and I don't want some of my hash browns, you can have them. I would say this to make it even better. I would say, like, just order something that, like, get a substitution that you want. And then what I'll do is I'll just give you all my hash browns. So not only do you get, a side optional item, you just get hash brown. You get, basically what I'm doing is I'm giving you a free substitution item. Because I care. I wonder if I'm going to look back on this, and I don't know if this is going to be successful. It would be really nice, because, I would like to afford some therapy. But it would be really nice to look back and be like, it all started with hash browns. It started with hash browns. But shout out to hash browns. I mean, we're cool, but like, sometimes you come on a little bit too strong, and I'm not really into that. So, that's not what I'd like to do. Let's see. Next up on our docket, let's see what we got on here. I am definitely looking at notes that I made before I started this. Let's talk about film. I think a lot of my friends, like, if you know me well enough, you know that I can get really, really annoying when talking about movies. I think a friend of mine, he had shown me the movie Maximum Overdrive, and I had heard that it was just a terrible movie. From the jump. Because I'm from that era where, like, it was kind of fun to, like, rip on movies like that. People like, I mean, back in the day, because, he was kind of like the only dude kind of doing this kind of shit, but, like, Nostalgia Critic and other people would kind of rip on that movie, and then you had a lot of the movie reviewers kind of discovering that. And Maximum Overdrive is, I remember, thinking about the reviews of it, or people talking about it, and they were, like, constantly making fun of it, and, like, people talk about how it's, like, a really good, bad movie. No, Maximum Overdrive is, like, one of the worst movies, like, ever made. And I remember watching it with my friend. Excuse me. I remember watching it with my friend, and basically, he basically got, like, a 2-hour film school, course that he didn't even want in the first place. I broke down and dissected everything wrong with that fucking... Didn't mean to cuss, sorry. I guess it's... well, whatever. Don't matter, I guess you can go and do this. You might not get... I don't know how the monetization works, but screw it. But, it's just such a... I've said this a few times. Like, I knew somebody that went to, like, a film school, and I remember he would talk about how, or at least mention that they would watch a lot of Citizen Kane during a lot of their film study schools, or studies or whatever. And I'm just like, bro, stop showing people Citizen Kane in film school. Show them Maximum Overdrive, because you will learn more about how not to make a movie than watching that stupid, fucking movie. It's one of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen, and it wasn't even fun. I had no joy. I tore this movie apart to the point where, like, my friend has, vowed to, like, never show me any kind of movie like that around me. Not because he didn't have fun, but because I tore that movie apart, and I ripped any joy that he had watching it that he used to have for some reason. And I do apologize to you, man. If you're listening, I apologize for doing that, but, I'm sorry, dude. Like, you just can't show me a bad movie, In the same sense of, like, if you really take care of your cars, like, you wouldn't you wouldn't drive around a top-notch mechanic in a car with, like, a flat tire, and your oil change is, like, 3,000 miles overdue, and you got, like, a weird crick in your axle. Like, you would drive that person crazy, right? That's what you would do. That's what would happen. That's what I went through. If you show me a bad movie, I'm sorry, I'm gonna take it apart. And that's not anything, like, I think what needs to happen is that there is a difference between a good bad movie and a bad movie. Like I think in March I had seen for the first time Leprechaun Back in the Hood, and Leprechaun Back in the Hood is actually a pretty funny movie. It's stupid, and I think it's still pretty bad. But I remember having a lot of fun, i.e., under the influence. But, it was during St. Patrick's Day, so you pick the influence. But I remember having fun with it. I remember enjoying myself. And then immediately, the group that I was in, we decided to watch. It's because the first one's Leprechaun in the Hood. It was Leprechaun in the Hood, and then it's Leprechaun Back to the Hood. And Leprechaun Back to the Hood is just a bad movie. I mean, like, it has its parts and everything, but God, it is such a chore to get through. There's something about the first Leprechaun back in the Leprechaun. The first Leprechaun Hood movie just has this, like, this weird charm to it that I can't really describe, but there's just something really kind of like. There's something slightly like. It feels like a bunch of people who are just like, yo, let's just get high and make a movie about a leprechaun, you know? Like let's just do it. Let's just see what happens. And it's like they just had I feel like there was an equal amount of people who were like in that movie. It feels like there's like a amount of people who are like trying to like make a pretty good movie but also realize that like, this premise is kind of stupid. It has the same energy as that like I had showed my grandmother Fast and the Furious, Fast 5, I guess. And that movie is just ridiculous. Like it is a ridiculous movie. It's just so over the top and just so dumb. But there's a charm there because I'm pretty sure like Justin Lin, I think directed that one. It was Justin Lin. Yeah, shout out Justin Lin. Justin Lin when he directed it, I have the feeling that he probably like he had a meeting with like Vin the Diesel and Dwayne the Boulder and all the other crew members, Tyrese, Baby Boy, alum, Luda, Wonder Woman, Han. I just know him as Han. I don't know his actor's name. Who else is in those stupid Fast and the Furious movies? I guess the cars are in the meeting for the Fast and the Furious movies too. Like they were probably like beeping and revving up, Hey, ADHD side note, why hasn't there been like a crossover between like Transformers and Fast and the Furious? Like, why hasn't that happened yet? Food for thought later. Anyway, but going back to it, like going back to just the charm of bad movie, or not just dumb movies in general sometimes, or just movies with like this weird kind of heart. I feel like Justin Lin, when he was making Fast 5 at least, was like, guys, listen. This is gonna be a really dumb movie, but we're gonna make it fun. And I think that's exactly the kind of energy that like Leprechaun in the Hood kind of like had. It was just like it had bad it was definitely like a dumb movie, but like there's just so much like I guess like ridiculousness and like funniness to it that like I think it just kind of comes around and just becomes cool. But by contrast, the Leprechaun Back to the Hood movie, the second one, feels like it just feels like the original team. I don't know if the original team wasn't even on there. I would want to do research. My phone was gonna die, and I'm feeling kind of lazy, and I don't want to move and lose the stream of consciousness. But I feel like that movie was made by people who just wanted to make a quick buck off of that Leprechaun Hood movie energy, and what you get is just you just get diet or like not even that like you get like you get zero sugar, the zero sugar version of the first Leprechaun Hood movie. And I remember thinking it was kind of ridiculous, but also like it was just bad. And it was bad in a way that I can't really describe. And you know what? I'll do this. If you guys want me to really go deep into like the Leprechaun Hood movies, let me know. I will. If you guys want to request that, please just comment, give me a heads up. I will do it. I'll watch both those movies back to back, and I'll record notes throughout it. and we can just go from there. But yeah, for what it's worth, I that's my biggest thing. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. But um, I was supposed to talk about something completely different, but it's all right. It's okay. It's all right. I guess like what I'm trying to set up is that I had recently seen a movie that I don't believe is a bad movie. In fact, um compared to a lot of his contemporaries, I think it's a fairly at least aesthetic wise, I think it's still a pretty good looking movie. And I think it has some pretty cool performances. I think the sense of humor is really, really great. I am, of course, before I get to the title, I will say this. It was a movie that was competent to me, and I know that there'll be people that definitely will like this type of movie for sure, and might even try to take away my film card because of this. But I just recently saw The Phoenician Scheme, the latest Wes Anderson movie. It dropped on Peacock with Benicio del Toro, and I think I really, really disliked it. And I'll explain why. Well, first of all, the positives out of the way. I mean, it's a Wes Anderson movie, and I think at this point, Wes Anderson's been doing. You know Wes Anderson's style. If you don't know who he is a. We call him independent now. I mean, he's still. I don't even call him independent because he still does pretty big movies with large, big casts. In this one alone, you have I think it had Tom Hanks, Bryan Cranston, Scarlett Johansson, um, Michael Cera. I forget the other actress, but she was really, really good. And I'll remind myself of that. She was really, really good. The one who plays his daughter, Benedict Cumberbatch. It has a lot of like pretty great players. Oh, Riz Ahmed was in there too. He's really, really cool. I mean, there's a lot of great players in it. Um, but it just illustrates a problem that I've had, and I've you know, recently had for a little bit, is the fact that like, you know, watching the Phoenician Scheme, I definitely saw like a lot of, you know, Wes Anderson's trademark framing, the way he picks his environments and everything. It's all very, very controlled, but like done on purpose. It's his style. It's just what he does. But watching the Phoenician Scheme, and I don't want to be disrespectful to his work because I do like a lot of his movies. Lately, to me, his work has been feeling like he's doing Mad Libs with his own movies now. Like, when I watched The Venetian Scheme, I didn't feel anything new because watching it made me go, I've already seen this. I've already seen this type of movie that he's done with, the Grand Budapest Hotel, the parts of the French Dispatch that I watched. I haven't seen Asteroid City, and I probably need to watch that because I could possibly be wrong, guys. If you guys want me to talk about that or tell me to watch that, please let me know. But I'm sorry, he's been doing the same thing for way too long. And I know people like that. I know that his fans like that, and I think that's great. But I'm sorry, dude. I've already seen this movie because he only makes this type of movie now. You know? Um if anybody wants to talk about that, and I trust me, I am fully welcoming for somebody to tell me that I'm wrong and I'm being an idiot. Like I'm fully welcome to like be like, dude, I'll take that L if I sound like if I'm being that dumb. If there's like a Wes Anderson like thought that I could have watching these that could change my mind, please let me know. I would want to hear it definitely for sure. But right now, to me, his work has just kind of just been like, mind you, it's still really great filmmaking what he's doing. I think that like the fact that his style is so distinct, like that's not a bug. That's a feature, baby. But it comes at the cost of me being like, I don't feel like he's. I don't want to echo other statements, but there's a channel called Red Letter Media, a show called Half in the Bag, and there's one of the hosts named Jay Ballman had talked about how he had seen. I think he had seen The French Dispatch. I think one of those movies, and he had said like he likes Wes Anderson, but like he needs to try something different. And I don't want to echo his opinion, but I have to somewhat agree with that statement. For example, what I really want Wes Anderson to do, honestly, is one of my favorites. And actually, like I'm a bigger fan of his earlier career with Bottle Rocket, with Rushmore, with the Royal Tenenbaums. I think those movies, like, while still they keep, his directorial, like, styles in them, he needs to do another Darjeeling Limited. If you guys haven't seen that Wes Anderson movie, the Darjeeling Limited is about three brothers that, after their father had died, they go on this spiritual journey, I believe, to find their mother. I could just be messing up the plot summary. Somebody correct me, please. But yeah, they go out to find their mother in India. And what's so great about that movie that I love so much is that, like, I believe he shot it on location in parts of India. And I think that challenges him because now he's no longer in control of his environment. With the Phoenician Scheme, or at least a lot of his other movies that I've seen, people have compared his movies to, like, a dollhouse, I guess. And in a sense that, like, he just has complete control over every aspect of the production. The rooms, the places he talks in, he has complete control, and it's framed up in that trademark style. And Darjeeling, for me, throws that out of the way because it forces him to try to find his style in an environment that he can't control. He can't, he can't, he can't make anything perfect now. He has to work with the imperfections around him, with the environment. And I think that makes a stronger thorough line. I think that, like, those imperfections become a lot more warmer and more authentic. And I'm not judging any of his later movies, but I'm sorry, dude. For me, sometimes even when the movies are set outside, I never feel like he's actually outside. That's why even there's a part in the Venetian Scheme. Spoilers, I do apologize. Their plane crashes and they're in some kind of jungle, and my eyes lit up because I was like, "Oh my God, we're actually outside in a scene." I feel like we're actually outside. He's an incredibly talented filmmaker, incredibly talented, but and I hate to do this, but he's kind of, I think he kind of knows who his audience is, and even though I find his work to be leagues above these other two filmmakers, but essentially he's just kind of like, he's the Kevin Smith or the Medea of, like, artsy fartsy independent indie filmmakers. And I know that sounds really, that sounds like a generalization, but that's the best way I can put it. Like, he's that, like, for like the people that love independent movies and love, like, independent cinema and all that kind of stuff, like, he's the Kevin Smith of that. Because he legit just does the same type of thing over and over again and only kind of caters just to his audience. He's just like Tyler Perry. He's just like Kevin Smith. They're filmmakers that, for what it's worth, they could say to me, they could tell me to go fuck myself, and I would take that and be like, all right, well, I gotta just take that, I guess. But they are the people that realize that they no longer have to go outside their comfort zone. Their audiences are already going to flock to their movies no matter what. And that, you just have to ask yourself, like, I guess the most important question is that, like, I always want people to challenge themselves and to go above and beyond what they can do. And you definitely don't want to fall into a rut of complacency, because I think that's where ambition dies, and I think that's where true artistic creation truly, truly dies, in the throes of complacency. You always want to experiment. You always want to go outside the box and just try different things, It's something that I strive to do myself, and I would like other people to do that. And on the flip side too, there is that other side of the coin that I just might be talking out of my ass on this one. That I might just be missing something. And I'm probably, because this usually happens anyway, like, I'll say something sucked, but then, like, I'll give it a second shot and be like, all right, that was a little bit too harsh. But yeah, I guess, like, if I have to tell you guys, if you guys are already fans of Wes Anderson movies just in general, you're gonna like this. If you are a person who studies cinematography and production design and framing and aesthetic choices, then you definitely would like this movie. But if you're a person that's kind of just caught on to the Wes Anderson like game, I don't know if this is gonna do too much for you. Because I was really trying to like this. And mind you, towards the ending I actually had a few chuckles. And it was a lot of fun. And plus it was also kind of cool to see Wes Anderson like, I don't know, shake up his usual filmmaking style. And I thought it was pretty cool. So, shout out to him. I think that he's still one of our best. I just I would just like him to try something. I would like him to do a Darjeeling. And I would like him to make a movie where he isn't in control of the environment to like such a meticulous degree. I would like him to just go and film a movie in a location where he does not have any control over what is out there. I don't know. It might you might be able to bring something back from that. But until then, I'll look out for your next movie, Wes. I think that a guy making a podcast in his room by himself at what is it, 10:15 at night? Uh, I think you know more about filmmaking than I do, but I hope that one day I could just give you a heads up and be like, "Yo, you want to try something different?" Yeah, yeah. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Let's see. Let's see. This has actually been really, really nice. I hope you guys are doing well. It is currently. I didn't even give you the date and time of when I'm doing this. It is currently Sunday, September 14th. Sunday, September 14th. Man, I hope you guys are all doing okay. I won't really allude to too much stuff, but we can kind of say right now that things haven't really been the best. And I won't go too much into that because that's not what I'm here for. But I can just give you a mission statement of just being like, if I can just make you guys laugh or make you guys think or something to take your mind off of things for a little bit, I think I've done my job well. Let's see. Let's see. What else are we talking about today? What else is going on in the world? What else are we doing? Hmm. You know what? I think this was a good episode. I think it was a good first episode. I do like the idea of keeping this short. Um, I'm not sure if I'm going to try to record one of these like every single day, but if there's something on my mind, I'll definitely want to talk about it for sure. But in any case, I want to go ahead and thank you guys for listening. If you guys have any suggestions for me, something for me to talk about, especially in just the way of like art and entertainment, like please let me know. I'll go ahead and link some of my socials. You can send me a message. Just hit me up. Just let me know what you guys want to hear. All right. Well, hey, this has been this has been the I can't afford therapy or whatever. This has been the I can't afford therapy, but I'm gonna do this anyway podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Like I said, like and subscribe. I'll have some more episodes out. And yeah, and I'll go ahead and just use this to play me out. And you guys have a wonderful day. And please enjoy yourself, guys.